Hi everybody, I'm in Florida. Normally this would be the time for the Space Coast Birding Festival, but this year because of COVID it's a virtual festival. So what I'm doing is going to talk a little bit about spotting scopes so you can know a little bit more about them when you go to Time and Optics, who is the official optics dealer for Space Coast Birding Festival, and buy yourself a spotting scope, because a binocular is wonderful. I mean, you can see lots of really great things, but through a spotting scope, oh, you can see so much more, so much more. I'm a spotting scope devotee for sure. I would, if I could only go out with one or the other, I'd take the spotting scope and not the binocular. So if you don't have a spotting scope ever at all, where do you start? Well, probably first thing you're going to do is start with the angled eyepiece. You can buy spotting scopes in a straight through eyepiece or an angled. The nice thing about an angled eyepiece is it fits people tall and short. A tall person, all they have to do is bend at the waist to look down into them. You can even turn them for kids, things like that. So the versatility of the angle scope is really good. We do sell more angle spotting scopes than straight throughs by quite a long margin. Straight throughs are still fine, and especially if you want to add a camera to it, it's more like a camera lens for pointing. It's easier to pick up stuff. If you have the car and you have a window mount, it's easier to have this on your window mount and scan from your car as you're driving through Black Point Drive and that kind of stuff than it is with the angle, because sometimes you have to turn the thing to be able to aim yourself, and it gets a little interesting figuring out where to go with it. These are the Swarovski Optik modular spotting scopes. This is the 95mm that has been our best seller ever since we came out with them in 2012. The end of 2020, we came out with the 115 millimeter front opening. It is incredible. It is so bright, so sharp. It is 20% sharper and 40% brighter than our 95. Amazing. Right now, they are really hard to get. There's a huge demand for them, but they are tremendous. If you already have one of our scopes, one of our modular scopes, you can buy the module separately. Yes, both of these are really big scopes, and size and weight is always a consideration when you're birding. But the nice thing about the modular is we also have the little 65mm front, and you can own one of these. Start out with that. Once you're going to love it. It's bright, it's sharp, it's fairly lightweight. Focus is down to 7 feet at 60 power, which is amazing for butterflies, dragonflies, all that kind of stuff. And then if you want to go with either the 85, the 95, or the 115, you can add them on separately. Or you can even start with the angled eyepiece and buy the straight through eyepiece if you get into photography or something like that. That's the beauty of the modular system. It is in fact, you can assemble pieces and parts. We actually also have the BTX, which is the binocular adapter, so you can look through with both eyes if you're doing long-term studying, ocean watching, lake watching, watching a bald eagle nest down here in Florida, all that kind of stuff. So the modular system is really flexible. It's incredibly rugged, waterproof, stores nice and small, and then you can pop it into different configurations, and you can even do cameras on any of them. So my SLR camera, we'll talk about cameras in a separate video, but you can go from viewing to photography in a snap, and even put your cell phone on it. So if you haven't looked through a spotting scope, find somebody that has one, go look through it, and you're going to go, oh yeah, now I understand why they own these things. You will need a tripod, and buy a good spotting scope. Make sure you put a good tripod underneath it, because you want to have something that's reasonably lightweight. So carbon fiber legs are great, but more importantly, the carbon fiber legs help dampen vibration because even on a windy day, on a jiggly day at 60 power, 70 power, you don't want to have the entire thing bouncing and jumping like crazy. You want to have a fairly stable platform. So a less expensive aluminum tripod might not be stable enough for, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a big old Swarovski 115. It could be even a little 65mm, less expensive scope. They will always be better than a binocular, no question, but you do need to have to make the realization that, yes, I'm going to bring a scope, I'm going to bring a tripod with me, and if I leave it in the trunk of the car, something really good is going to show up 100 yards down the path, and I'm going to miss it because it was a little too far away for me to see with my binocular, but I need that tripod and I need that scope. So for me, scopes are an absolute necessity, and I love them to death. and go check out Time & Optics and see the pricing they have on the Swarovski modulars and everything else that we sell. Enjoy.